Hello and welcome into this week's first edition of the RNN Diecast Review Flashback Friday right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below and hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. Now, for this first RNN Flashback Friday, we are not looking at a NASCAR, but instead at an IROC car, which, I mean, in all honesty, we're very similar to NASCAR. That's why generally in IROC it was most of the time NASCAR drivers that were faring pretty well compared to the other drivers that were in the series. So we're going to look at the car here, and then after we look at the car, we'll give you a little background on the year this car is from and what exactly happened in IROC in that season. So, take a look at the box first. It was made in, this was a 2003 production from Action. I see just a picture of an IROC race here on the front of the box, and then of course pictures of IROC races on the front and the back. And of course, Action 124 scale IROC car on this side, and then a production sticker on this side. It is one of 3,864 made of the Dale Jarrett 2001 IROC Daytona win autographed versions. So, the only thing that comes in the box with this car is, of course, the certificate of authenticity, proving that this is, of course, a legitimate Dale Jarrett signature. So, on to the car itself. It is a very good-looking car here, and as we take a look at it here, the obviously the signature up here on the hood above the TrueValue logo. The hood opens really easily, like really easily. Look inside at the engine. Some very good engine detail in this car. Much better than what we get out of today's models, and of course, as you can see here, my finger playing a little bit with the opposable front wheels. So let's look at the nose here. Jarrett, TrueValue, Goodyear, Firebird, McDonald's, all on the nose here, number 7, which of course in IROC, the way your numbers work, you didn't have the same number from race to race. It was based on your starting position in that race, and your starting position in that race was determined by your finishing position in the race before. So Dale Jarrett started 7th in this race at Daytona, the first race of the 2001 IROC season, and of course won it, as this is a race-win version. Of course, Pontiac and IROC here on either side of the windshield, number 7 on the roof of the car, and then TrueValue back here on the deck lid. Right, down the driver's side here, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Master Mechanic, let's see, DuPont Automotive Finishes, let's see, Aero Equip down here behind the left front tire, Firebird, Jarrett, the big name down here along the driver's side door, kind of hard rubber window net here, Goodyear up here on the name rail, IROC 2001 logo back here, and then TrueValue and a We Care logo back here, Duracell and McDonald's. Back here, we'll open up the deck lid for you so you can see inside the trunk. Not really any detail in there, but it does open nonetheless. All right, so back here on the back, we have TrueValue, Master Mechanic, Firebird, DuPont Automotive Finishes, IROCRacing.com, Jarrett, and the number 7. And then here along the passenger side, just very similar to the driver's side. All right, and that is the 2001 Dale Jarrett IROC Daytona race win version. Of course, as you can see there, the autographed version as well. A little background on the 2001 IROC season. They ran 4 races that season: Daytona, Talladega, Michigan, and Indianapolis. Daytona would be the only race that Dale Jarrett would win in that 2001 IROC season. Bobby Labonte would win the race at Talladega. Tony Stewart won at Michigan. And then Bobby Labonte again won at Indianapolis. 12 drivers competed in that 2001 IROC season. Bobby Labonte, of course, with his 2 wins out of the 4 races, won the IROC Championship for 2001, this 25th year of the International Race of Champions. Tony Stewart, Kenny Brack, Eddie Cheever, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, Scott Goodyear, Jeff Burton, Buddy Lazier, Jeff Green, Mark Dismore, and Dale Earnhardt all competed in the 2001 IROC Series. And of course, obviously being 2001, Dale Earnhardt only competed in the first race at Daytona, as we know what happened to Dale Earnhardt in 2001. So he obviously did not compete in the other 3 IROC races that season. But I believe that's all we got for you this week on Flashback Friday here on the RNN Diecast review. We mentioned on Wednesday's Diecast review, on the Tyler Reddick Daytona win that went up on Wednesday, that we were going to do these 3 times a week. Now we're going to do Flashback Friday on Fridays. We're going to do the normal one on Wednesdays, and then we were going to do a minor series Monday on Mondays. I think we're going to scrap the minor series Monday. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be any Diecast reviews on Mondays, because occasionally we might throw up an extra one on Mondays if something needs to get out fairly quickly, if it's something that I think folks will want to see pretty quickly and they won't want to have to wait for a couple weeks for it to fit in on the Wednesday show. But I think 3 Diecast reviews is probably too much, because I know a lot of you probably didn't subscribe to this channel for Diecast reviews, which I get it. It's just something to fill in the off season. I know some of you love seeing Diecast reviews, and that's great. I love doing them, but I think 3 times a week is probably a little too much consistently. Let me know if you think differently. If you want to see 3 Diecast reviews a week, I will be more than happy to do it. I just feel like my guess is that less is more in this case, and 2 times a week is probably the best way to go about this throughout the off season. Like I said, that doesn't mean there won't ever be a Diecast review on Mondays over the off season. There are a couple I know coming up that I will probably throw up on Mondays, as they won't necessarily fit into the schedule on Wednesdays very quickly, but it's something that I think needs to get out pretty quickly. I know there's one probably coming up here in the next couple of weeks that will need to be done like that, but overall, Mondays won't be a normally scheduled Diecast review day. It'll just, whenever there's something that needs to get out, it'll go out on Mondays. Otherwise, it'll just be the normal stuff on Wednesdays, mainly raced win versions as we work through the 2018 season raced win versions as they come out. And then, of course, right here, Flashback Fridays. On Fridays, we look through this really cool stuff, these older Diecasts. I know I started with the Dale Jarrett one for a lot of reasons here. If any of you are still watching at this point, thank you. But I started with the Dale Jarrett one for a couple of reasons. The main reason being, if you don't already know, Dale Jarrett was my personal favorite driver growing up. So I have a pretty large collection of Dale Jarrett diecasts. There's a lot of them that we could look through eventually. So I do have some really cool Dale Jarrett cars, actually, so I'm excited to get those on here eventually. But I figured this was a really cool one to start with for a multitude of reasons. One, just to start off the Dale Jarrett theme here, but there's a lot of cool stuff to look at here with this IROC car. And I thought this was the perfect way to start off Flashback Friday with this 2001 Dale Jarrett Daytona win IROC car. But I think that will do it for us on this first RNN Diecast review Flashback Friday. If you haven't done it already, go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. And while you're down there, hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It's much appreciated when you do, and it helps us out a lot. And truly, we really do appreciate it when you do hit that thumbs up button. But at that, this has been an RNN Diecast Review Flashback Friday. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.